Deep in the pine barrens of New Jersey, there's a legend that refuses to die. Locals say the woods belong to something unnatural, part man, part beast, with wings as wide as the trees themselves, and eyes that glow unnaturally in the dark. They call it the Jersey Devil, and for centuries, sightings have kept people afraid to walk those trails alone at night. Tonight, I bring you not just one, but 3 terrifying encounters with this creature. As we end this Part 2 collaboration with awesome narrator Samhain's Campfire Chills, we hope you can get cozy, 'cause the fire won't last very long, but the stories will.
In the twisted heart of New Jersey's Pine Barrens, where the stars vanish behind a veil of ancient trees, a legend waits in the dark, wings stretched wide, hooves hollow on ground, and eyes that never blink. This tale is not for the faint of heart. Tonight I take you deep into the woods, where something older than sin still screams beneath the canopy. This is the story of the night the devil took flight. There's a place they call Wharton Forest, miles of blackened trees and forgotten trails, where compasses go mad and cell signals die at screaming. Locals say if you hear wings flapping overhead at night, don't look up. In 1998, 2 brothers, Mike and Travis Harlan, went camping in the Pine Barrens. Mike had just come home from the army. Travis, younger by a few years, wanted to toughen up, prove something. They chose a remote clearing far off the ranger maps, a place whispered about in town, but never marked. Their fire burned low by midnight, and the forest felt like it was listening. That's when they heard the first sound, a scream. Not human, not animal. A high, throatless shriek that echoed like metal on bone. Travis froze. Mike stood squinting into the tree line. Another scream, closer this time. Then came the thumping, hooves, but not on the ground. They were above them. Something was walking in the trees. The fire sputtered as a shadow passed over them. Huge wings, black against the black sky. Mike grabbed the flashlight and swept the beam upward. And there it was. It stared down with red, unblinking eyes, its body twitching with unnatural movements. Goat face, wing, hooved. Its jaws didn't move, but both brothers swore they heard a voice inside their minds. A whisper that said, 13th born, 13th taken. Before they could run, it descended, crashing into the camp with a gust of hot wind and the smell of sulphur. The fire died instantly. Mike swung his flashlight and saw Travis, lifted off the ground, limp in the creature's claws. He never screamed. Mike chased them into the dark, but found nothing. No trail, no blood, only hoofprints in a perfect circle that ended where the earth seemed scorched. The rangers found Mike at dawn, wandering barefoot and delirious. He kept mumbling, he was the 13th, the 13th. They searched for Travis. They never found him. But 2 weeks later, a park ranger reported hearing shrieking cries from deep in the forest. When they followed the sound, they found something worse. A piece of Travis's camping gear, hung high in a pine, 20 feet off the ground, nailed into the bark with a sharpened deer antler. Some say the Jersey Devil was just a story. But tell that to the trees in Wharton Forest. or the screams that still echo through the branches when the wind blows just right. And if you ever find yourself in the Pine Barrens, count your friends carefully, because when the devil comes calling, he's always looking for the 13th soul to take.
I slammed the door behind me, the last words of my fight with my wife still ringing in my head. My chest was tight, and I couldn't breathe in that house another second. I didn't even know where I was going when I grabbed my keys and drove off. I just needed distance. The highway carried me further than I meant to go, and before long the signs for the Pine Barrens appeared. Maybe that's why I didn't turn around. That place has always had a strange draw to me. Remote, empty, the kind of silence I thought I needed. By the time I parked at one of the trailheads, it was already close to 10. The forest outside my headlights was black as ink. I got out anyway, gravel crunching underneath my boots, and started down the narrow trail. For a while, it worked. The quiet settled over me. The air smelled damp and earthy, and all I could hear was the occasional rustle of leaves. At this point, the anger had boiled over, and I was feeling back to my normal self. That's when I heard it. A branch snapping. Sharp, loud, not far away. I froze, my head jerking over my shoulder, but the trail behind me was empty. I forced myself to breathe. Probably a raccoon, maybe a deer. I moved on, but the next sound didn't come from the ground. It came from above me. I stopped dead in my tracks. My eyes swept the trees. Now my pulse was hammering in my ears. Something was moving through the branches. It was heavy, deliberate. This wasn't the wind. It wasn't small either. I started walking faster. Every nerve in my body was screaming at me not to run. The faster I walked, the more the noises followed. Creaking branches. Suddenly, in the trees in front of me, that's when I saw them. Two eyes, bright, burning, fixed on me from high in the trees, too far up to be a man, too steady to be an animal. They didn't blink, they just stared at me. My legs locked for half a second, but then a growl rolled out of the dark. Low, rumbling, unnatural, and I broke into a sprint. The forest exploded behind me, branches snapping, leaves tearing, that growl growing louder and louder with every second. I didn't dare look back. I could feel it, whatever it was, closing the distance. My car. That was all I could think about. Just get to the damn car. When I finally made it to the car, I shoved the key into the lock and yanked that door open, threw myself inside. The growl was right behind me now, deep, vibrating through the glass. I risked one look into the mirror and saw it in full. A shape too tall, hunched, with wings folded tight against its body, and those eyes stared straight into mine. I turned the ignition, slammed my foot on the gas, and the tires screamed as I peeled out of the lot. I didn't slow down, not even when the forest blurred by me, not even when the growl faded into the distance. I just kept driving until I hit the highway. At this point, my heart was still beating out of my chest. I was never one to believe in fictional stories. I always thought cryptids and ghosts and the Loch Ness Monster and all those stories were nothing but fabled folktale and trying their absolute best to scare kids. But what I saw and what I heard in the New Jersey Pine Barrens that night was undeniably real. My advice to anyone listening is simple. Even if you don't believe in these folk tales, respect them, because that may be the last mistake you ever genuinely make.
Skeptics say the Jersey Devil is a bedtime story. A goat on stilts. A misremembered shadow. A hoax. But legends don't need your belief. They just need your attention. Tonight I bring you the tale of a man who came to disprove the myth, but left something of himself behind in the pines. This is the story of Proof in the Pines. Ethan Rourke was a rational man, a science teacher from Montclair, part-time blogger, full-time cynic. He made a name online debunking cryptic hysteria. Bigfoot, bear, chupacabra, mangy coyote. The Jersey Devil? A glorified barnyard fable, he called it, until he set out to prove it. In October 2021, Ethan camped alone in the Batslow region of the Pine Barrens, documenting his stay for his YouTube channel, Skepticam. His plan? Record 4 nights, debunk local myths, interview a few believers in nearby towns, go home and gloat. But his final video was never uploaded. Night 1, Ethan poked fun at devil hunters and filmed himself roasting marshmallows. He dismissed every strange noise as raccoons, wind, or old trees groaning. But his trail cam, set 30 feet from camp, showed something odd. At 2:44 AM, the lens fogged for 5 seconds. When it cleared, there was a deep hoof print where there'd been none before. No approach, no retreat, just arrival. Night 2, Ethan started to feel uneasy. He mentioned something pacing beyond the firelight. He chalked it up to deer. Then came the scratches, rhythmic, deliberate, on the back of his tent. He whipped around with his flashlight and found nothing. But in the morning, 3 long gouges ran down a tree near the camp. Not claw marks, not animal. Gouges, like from tools, or talons. Night 3, his tone changed. The mocking stopped. He spoke quietly into the camera. I might be wrong. Something's out there. It's not scared of me. It wants me to know it's here. He left the motion camera on all night. At 3:13 AM, the camera caught Ethan standing outside his tent, perfectly still. His eyes wide, mouth open, but there's no record of him waking, just footage of him already outside, and the faint sound of wings beating the treetops above. Day 4, his final journal entry, scrawled hastily in his field notes. It's not a cryptid. It's not an animal. It sees inside you. The devil doesn't care if you believe. That's not how it wins. It waits until you're certain you're alone. When rangers found his abandoned camp, everything was in place. Gear, camera, even food untouched. But the tent had been cut open from the inside and nailed into the trunk of a nearby cedar, using an old rusted railroad spike, was Ethan's skepticism journal, with one word carved into its leather cover: wrong. His body was never found, but the final frame of his trail cam footage shows a pair of glowing red eyes watching from just beyond the camp as the sun rose. Not every story needs your belief. The Jersey Devil doesn't feed on fear. It feeds on certainty. The arrogance that nothing lurks beyond logic. So go ahead, laugh, head out into the pines with your signs and your cameras. But when the forest goes silent and the hoof prints start to circle your tent. Don't look out. The devil already knows you're watching.